Hello, I am Quinny. Welcome to the channel. In this video today, guys, we're going through episode 5 of how to build your club on SoRare. The topic we've got today is probably one of my favourites. It is club assets. So far in the playlist we've discussed, the foundations you need to be preparing in the club to move with change as the product and the platform develops. We've spoke about the ratios that you need to have in your squad, the regions you need to configure with, and how to get market trades done. I kind of went through my own previous examples of that. But with this episode, guys, what we're all going to kind of focus on here, it's quite simply, you are building your club, and you'll have similar experiences to doing such a thing in other games that you've maybe messed about with in the past, whether it be FIFA or Football Manager, or there's a wide array of things you've maybe previously been involved in where that kind of dynamic is present. But it's very much overlooked on SoRare because it's got such a strong market presence in terms of the secondary market, churning profit, buying low and selling high, all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately we do detract and we don't pay enough attention, in my opinion, to actually building your club full of net worth assets. High net worth, I think that's meant to be. But like I mentioned, we've got a lot of focus, we put a lot of attention into our market activity, into the profit that we're generating from the marketplace, as well as SO5 competitions, cards that you can win, all that kind of thing. But like I mentioned in the tip off of the video, you are building your club. You should have a name for it. You should really start to feel like, the game element of it. You're starting to enhance your club. You're starting to grow your club's reputation in the SoRare community, and you're starting to get up the leaderboards. You're starting to do some damage now. We've kind of already laid out in the playlist the mechanics of how you're going to make that happen. But on top of that, your club should be something that you're proud of, in the sense that when you put these squads together, or when you are hitting a big milestone, like, for example, I've got a little squad here called Open to Offers listed, right? You'll have guys like this in your club as well that you're not terribly attached to, but they might be worth something to somebody, and if somebody came in with an offer for them, hey, you might let them go. And when you do that, you come into a crossroads. You can either just release profit, or you can go back into the market and try and reinforce the squad elsewhere. Now, when you are going in and reinforcing the squad elsewhere, if that's the avenue you're going to go down, then I would always try and push you towards making a couple of big signings here and there, if and when possible, when the opportunity arises for yourself. And it might not be necessarily like going out and buying like a Felix or a Ronaldo, or something like that, a Gravenberch, whatever. But it could be somebody who has the potential to be that type of profile of card in the coming season, in the season after that, whatever it might be. It might be a hunch you've got on someone's form returning from 3 years ago, where they've just been waning ever since. Maybe now they've had a break because of they didn't play international football in the summer, and this is their first rest period since COVID and Project Restart and everything in between. Pardon me. But the squad list that draws my attention when I'm thinking about this topic and when I want to chat to you guys about it is this squad I've got here called Euro Locks. Okay, now they're not locks for the Euros or whatever, but they're in either Euro Challenger or Champion Euro, and they're cards that I would have bought day one regardless of who was on the platform in terms of licensing. So just a mild recap, if you're new around here, you don't know what I've just, or you don't know what I've meant by what I've just said, is when I opened my account on the platform, we didn't have PSG, we didn't have Liverpool, we didn't have Bayern, we didn't have Real Madrid, we didn't have any of the national teams, we didn't have, even MLS wasn't even on when I first opened my account, and there's been a million other clubs come on board in between times also, a lot of Italian clubs and whatever else, the Eredivisie. So these are guys that no matter what, I would have bought, I would have wanted them, and some of them you might look at them like maybe guys like Isco and Falcao and think, oh, they're kind of shit, Quinny. Yeah, they are kind of shit now, but I still really like them as football players, and I'm happy to have them, and maybe they'll come good. And again, there's some guys here that are just bankers, like the All Blacks and the Depays of this world, Werner, Hakimi, whatever. But all these guys, really, I do look at them as assets to the club. I don't think any of them I would really be willing to sell at any given moment. It would have to be at a controlled kind of juncture in my club where I would be either upgrading or downsizing for whatever reason, because they're all potentially, because they are in primarily Champion Euro, they're all kind of high worth cards to a larger or greater extent. But you can have those types of cards in other regions as well. They don't need to be the premium guys that are in Champion Euro. You might find really great cards you're in love with in MLS. You might even find, it might be something like this, you know, these kind of assets where it's like there's a theme going on. You know, maybe like, I know Genesis is a big favourite of my channel. You know, I love the guy. If you're not on Twitter, go and follow him. And a lot of you guys in the SoRare community really like guys like him as well. SoRare Holland, and you know, there's lots of other guys that get really good fingers on the pulses with up and coming youth in different demographics and different territories. But it may even be something like that, you know, where you're trying to build a theme, you're trying to build an assortment of different players that complement each other for maybe the collector standpoint or maybe the SO5 standpoint. But they are cards, and again, by and large, I wouldn't really be looking to sell any of these guys individually. If anything, I'm be looking to build this up, maybe add in a Musa and maybe one or two other cards, and maybe eventually further down the road in maybe 2 or 3 years from now, try and sell it as a set, you know, because that could be an asset further down the road that could reap some real rewards. Now, the reason I say that, and that's, you know, I started off the video by saying we can get too focused on, you know, market activity and profit driving and all that kind of stuff, and that's all still relevant and true, don't get me wrong, but the fundamentals of this, right, that I'll be going into this in a bit more detail looking in our video, but SoRare should be built upon your disposable income. It's income that you use for games. Now, just to give you a wee bit of background, right, and again, some of you guys that are regulars to the channel will know this already, right, but I collect a lot of action figures and different other bits and pieces, okay? In this cupboard there is the tune of, you know, a couple of £1,000 worth. I have bought that with my disposable income. I did Football Index with my disposable income. I did Footstock with my disposable income, and I managed to amalgamate lots of, you know, profit opportunities from toys, from this one and from that one, and come into SoRare with a lot more disposable income than I may have had 3 or 4 years ago, if that makes sense. So whenever you are building your club, number one, it has to, you know, I would always say it cannot be anything other than your disposable income. You should not be taking food off your table. You should not be letting direct debits bounce. And as much as it can be a good vehicle for, you know, capital appreciation and driving profit or whatever, similar to maybe my action figures I've got in here to some extent, it is a game, and it is something you should be enjoying. And if you are just constantly grinding out those little cheap guys and building them up, buying low, selling high, go get another one, do the same thing, copy and paste, there is enjoyment in that, but it is time consuming and it will become stressful at times, you know. I always recommend you acquire some guys, you acquire some cards that no matter what, they are going to be a big part of your club, whether it be your SO5 activity, whether it be your fandom as a football fan. These are all ex-Celtic players, for example, because you need to have that. You need to have cards in your gallery that you don't price check every day of the week. You're not worried about them getting injured because it's, oh crap, I was planning on selling him next month, now he's injured, I can't, or he's just transferred to somewhere, shit, now I can't. You should always be looking to have these guys that are just mainstays of the club. And do you know what? That kind of caliber of player, that kind of caliber of card, if you do look to upgrade later on, you do want to do a big trade at some point, these are cards that eventually, if you were to move them on, can be part of a monumental deal for you. Whether it even be because there's a growing trend in not the smallest galleries, but maybe the step up from the small galleries, the galleries that are worth maybe between 5 and 10 ETH. There is a little pattern emerging where guys are going to Pavel and these other guys and selling their full gallery in a full lot. And if that is something you want to do, and let's say 2 months from now, doing that with really good cards, some assets, some ones that are quite hard to acquire or ones that are just never ever cheap, will help you, you know, move a full gallery on in 2 or 3 months from now if that's how you want to play the game and that's how you want to roll. And equally, if you do find yourself in a pickle and you're like, do you know what, this opportunity just came up, I have to go and get this super rare Hakimi or whoever it might be that you're talking about, you need to be able to have cards that you can quickly liquidate for a good amount of money to then go and realise these opportunities when the auction does come on, or you know, whatever it is it might be. Some of these guys are like, you're buying low and selling high, you know, you're run-of-the-mill midfielders or your backup goalkeepers, these kind of guys, they might not always sell rapid, and they might not always sell rapid for the type of price that you're after. So it is important that you have some cards that can be very liquid on the market, that can get into the secondary market, and you can shoot a few messages around Discord, and within a couple of hours you can probably realise some nice healthy profit quite quickly, regardless of the time of the year, regardless if they're in season or not, because that flexibility and that be able to posture through the market is what is going to really help your club, you know, really jump on leaps and bounds, you know. So I really can't say this enough, guys. You should be collecting cards, and I don't say collecting in the collecting sense, but I mean like a gathering, you know, cards that you are keeping. You're keeping them for the foreseeable. They're going to be your they're going to be your all black goalkeeper, your Matt Turner, your Hasegawa, you know, whoever it is. They're going to be your key striker. They're going to play every game, and if they transfer, they're only going up in the world, you know, these types of guys. Because you need to bear in mind that your attention span, your focus, your energy is finite, and if you're having to spread that across every card you've got, checking their prices, are they up, are they down, do I want to sell him today, should I have sold him yesterday, then number one, you'll miss opportunities, and number two, you're wasting a lot of time and energy on cards that you really don't need to be doing that with, or you know, you should be focusing your attention more and trying to be laser focused. I say that quite a lot on this channel, on the ones you are flipping in the market, and have ones that you can just put on ice and chill out. And do you know what, next game week, yeah, I've got a defender, yeah, I've got a goalkeeper, yeah, that guy plays every week, and yeah, okay, I only scored 40 this week, maybe we'll get 60 next week, that kind of thing. And really start to build those foundations, because basically with my club, that's exactly what I've managed to do. As you'll see here, this is my card count since I've been on SoRare. I'll just move that a wee bit so you can see the wee bit that's behind my head here. So as you can see, a very slow gradual progression, and it starts to escalate when I start winning cards, and you know the platform's grown and everything as well. But as I'm going through all this, you know, like I'm buying guys, I'm selling guys, I'm maybe winning guys as well. And what you'll see with the cards I've won, I'm going to highlight kept players, okay? So the ones that I sell on, I'll either turn them into ETH and then maybe go and try buy something bigger, or sometimes the guys I keep, they will then allow me to sell something else that I've bought, you know. So I might win a Vlasic, for example, and then I'll turn around and go, okay, well, under 23 Challenger Euro mids, you know, I've got 3 guys here that are worth the same as Vlasic that I now no longer need because I have a Vlasic. So I'll keep my Vlasic and I'll sell my 3 run-of-the-mill guys. A Vlasic, in my opinion, is much better than 3 or 2 kind of half Vlasic's, if that makes sense. Same with Jordan Teze. Like, having Jordan Teze allowed me, and this might sound stupid now because of how well he did at the Euros and how much his prices went up since I did sell him, but having a Jordan Teze in my squad allowed me to sell like Denzel Dumfries and Milan Van Alwyk. Because I personally value rewards above market buys. You know, if I can win a guy like Teze, then I'd rather keep a card like Teze that I've won than a Milan Van Alwyk. I'd rather just sell him and keep the reward card. As long as they're kind of on par, you know. And again, I might have Sané, I win a Sané, and then I'll go off, and you know, some of these guys I've won are pretty good, don't get me wrong. But then because I've won Sané, I can turn around and I can sell the Borja Mayoral when I win him, and I can sell the Rafinha and, you know, the double team away because I had him already. So yeah, you need to have guys that are strengthening your club, that are going in there and making sure that you're always going to be in a good club standing, no matter what your strategy is for realising profit further down the road. Because the more assets you acquire, even like again for Sharon, copy and paste what I just said about Vlasic and Timo Weah as well. Yeah, because at the end of the day, guys, winning cards is fun, but winning cards to just sell them is only half the thing for me. I like to win cards that I can keep, you know, that I can go, brilliant, well, I'm going to keep him, and then a guy that I bought that is very compatible, I might want to sell him. Or vice versa, or even the total opposite, I might want to keep them both. I might want to be greedy and just think, oh, do you know what? I've won these 4 guys here, you know, the top 4 line you can see. I don't actually have much motivation to sell any of them, so I'll just sit on them, and hey, if somebody comes in with a good offer one day, or I want to do a trade, they're sitting there, they're all decent, okay SO5 performers, and one day they might turn into something for me. But because I'm stacking these assets up, I then get the luxury of choice. I then get the luxury of what decision do I make. Whereas when you're always kind of churning in and out of the market, card for card, buying low, sell high, bought him, sold him, then I went and bought that guy, you've got a limited avenue for how much manoeuvres you can pull off and the type of manoeuvres you can pull off. Acquiring assets and building the club up just gives you more power, more strength, and more variety and more choices to be able to make. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. It's just it's a real message video rather than a pointers video. So I hope I've managed to be clear and concise, and you kind of get what I'm driving at here. If you are new here, please make sure you do subscribe to the channel, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.